Good morning, everybody. Good morning. This is QOL pre-market analysis for Friday, August 21st. For those of you that are new to the channel, subscribe to the channel. Hit that thumbs up button, like this video. Also hit that bell for future notifications, any kind of videos that I put out. Let's get into it right now. We've got last data that we have for the week right now. What do we got here? Flash PMI manufacturing at 8:45, and then President Trump is speaking later on tonight, so I don't know if that's going to really impact things too much. But next week, we're pretty packed with some economic data here. Starting on Tuesday, we got consumer confidence, new home sales. I'm sure people are going to be watching that number right there. Wednesday, we have GDP numbers for the quarter, PCE price, the price index month over month, and durable goods. So when you have a lot of yellow folders here, a lot of yellows make up a red, right? So when you have all these different numbers that are coming out, personal spending, income month over month, and crude oil inventories. So that Wednesday will be a pretty, pretty heavy economic data day. Thursday, we have unemployment claims. And then next week, we end in Jackson Hole, where Kevin Warsh speaks. Will probably be, and then you've got University of Michigan consumer sentiment also at 9 o'clock. So Friday, everything leading up to Friday will be pretty important there. I don't expect anything too earth-shattering with the news that it's coming out. I think that the chances of a rate hike in September have dropped to not 30%, so we don't see much of that happening. Anyways, let's get into things. Again, if you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel, hit that thumbs up button, like this video for me. I appreciate it. Let's start out with the VIX right now. So the VIX right now was elevated yesterday. Now it's starting to come down, it's starting to subside. We had some gap ups from the other day. Where were we on the VIX here? Excuse me. 15. Good. And let's skip over here. So we had some gap ups here. It's starting to close itself right now. We do have, before we lose sight of things, I am on the, you know what? No wonder I'm not on the VIX. There we go. Okay, better. So we do have a gap up here at $14.27. It was elevated yesterday. It's starting to come down in pre-market right now. We are below the 20 at $16.18. That's important. So this gap, you can see these big gaps right here. They usually get filled. You gap up in the morning pre-market and then it comes down, it fills. So we got a gap up here. So hopefully that'll fill. If that fills, the volatility index measures how much volatility there is in the marketplace. And the lower the VIX is, the more comfortable people are in with their risk on with the stocks right now. So as long as we're below the 16.18, I like that. It's very good. One thing to keep in mind, we have these gap downs. We have a gap down here from April 8th at $25.74, and one last one here at $30.34 from March 30th when this rally started here, right? So you can see right now it is, it's still kind of soft right now on the VIX, which is pretty important. So anyways, let's go over oil. Where are you, oil? So oil, and what I learned a long time ago, that when you have rising oil and gas prices, that almost acts like raising rates, because it's hitting people personally. So people are paying at the pump. So I'm not sure right now, that what I learned a long time ago, I don't know if that's necessarily true anymore. We do have, on the technical side of things, 96.99 is a gap down from May 22nd. That's still up there. We do have a gap up here at $71.63 a barrel from July 10th. So that's important. However, pay attention. We're above the 20-day moving average, $82.04 a barrel. And then below that, we have the 50 and the 200. The 50 at 79 a barrel, and the 200 at $77.40 a barrel. So just below the 100-day moving average, sitting at $88.06 a barrel. That's going to be important to hold below for our pocketbooks here, right? Okay. Let's get into the ES right now. So the ES starting to, maybe finding its little bottom here. I said that these, we may be able to get back to these all-time highs. Got to get above the 77.24.25 level. I think I was talking about that yesterday and pre-market that we had to hold that level. We lost it. So this could be a break and retest. However, pay attention, even though the S&P has been falling a little bit, we're still above the 20. It's holding the 20 right now in pre-market. It held it yesterday in regular hours, sitting at right about 76.60 level. If we pull back, I think I even said this yesterday. I'd like this pullback to 76.32. It's a previous all-time high. It's actually 76.32.25. Below that, you had the 50 at 75.81.83 if you did lose that all-time high. And then there's all kinds of support levels that we have below that, 75.40 and 74.82.75. On the upside, we do have this point of control that's open here from the 18th at 77.94.47. So if you can regain this 77.24.25 level, I'd like us to push back up into that 77.94.47 level. All right, let's go over SPY. SPY is going to look very similar. Same thing on the SPY. We have this open point of control at 773.34. Have to regain the 767.48 level in order to push higher. Probably get some headwinds. You got some headwinds the other day there at 772.30. But I think if we pop up there again, you may get a little reaction, but then I think you could pop through there and at least close that 773.34 point of control level that you have open there. On the downside here, same thing. We're above the 20 at 760.99. That's an important level to hold. You want to hold yesterday's close as well, sitting at 762.60. If you lose that, we do have an open point of control at 757.70. We also have an open point of control down here at 746.43. That being said, we probably want to go back to the ES real quick. I think we have some open point of controls below us as well on ES. Yeah, we do. So 74.09, 76 on the ES, which is sitting just above the 100-day moving average. So watch that level too if the market starts to flush in that direction. Nasdaq right now, the Nasdaq's holding right now we're kind of caught in between the 50 and the 100. Here's the 50-day moving average, 29,523.67. If you regain that, you can push back up into this 29,783.34. We do have an open point of control way up there at 30,208.56. That's promising. See if we have anything down below us. I don't think we do. No. So you got to hold this 29,200 level. It's holding yesterday's close. That's important. Holding this 29,352.50 level. It's a July 21st high. Very important. If you can pop and hold above this 50-day moving average today, I'd like us to retrace all of this downward, move that right now, at least into the 29,783.54 level. If you lose the 20, you come down to the 29,066.41, and below that, I don't have anything until 28,740. Qs are going to look the same thing, just like the ES. Same thing above the 2707.73. That's very important right now. If you can regain the 719.32 level, I have another level right here. Probably get some headwinds here at 723.50 level. On the downside here, if we lose yesterday's close, 710.93, you got to hold that 709.65 level. Also, if you lose that, come down to the 20. We have not tested the 20 yet, and we do have this filled point of control at 700. A little over 723 cents. And then below that, we have the 100-day moving average, 693.30. So probably important if the market flushes, got to hold yesterday's lows. Otherwise, you're going to continue to flush. On the upside, though, if you do regain the 719.32, I think you'll quickly regain this, move up to the 723.53 level. And then possibly, you have these other levels here that are coming into play. But I think that your biggest level is going to be to get above that 728.54 level. If you do that, then I think you could start pushing back towards the all-time highs of 748.65. We could be finding a bottom here. I like the way that this is performing right now, but you have to look at patterns. You can see patterns that start to form all over the place. So look at this pattern that we have here that's developing right now in pre-market. Look at this pattern that was developing in pre-market here on the 12th of last week, right? So you got this little push, little downward, and the actual day trading, and then boom, you had that big spike. So pay attention to these patterns. These patterns are all over the place, and that's how the more computer time you spend, that's how you start to monetize your efforts. Okay, let's get into the Mag 7 here. Again, if you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel, hit that thumbs up button, like this video for me. Also hit that bell so you can get future notifications on any videos I do. NVIDIA right now. We got NVIDIA also. One thing I forgot to cover for data next week, NVIDIA earnings next Wednesday. The whole world is going to be watching that. So consolidating right now. I would not anticipate any big moves right now. We talked about this midline regressional trend line yesterday, and it rejected it, right? So still below that. I would not be thinking longs while we're below this 218.93 level. As long as we're below that level, that's a level that you're going to have to get above in order to get back into the 221, the 224 area, right? So you can see it's pretty wicky right now, but not a lot of volume. We talk about this all the time. Here's your animation that tells you, okay, I better look down here for the volume, see if this really means anything, right? You don't trade off of your animation up here, you trade off of your volume down there. That identifies your price action, right? So you can see we're still above the 20 though, 20-day moving average, 212.78, so that's important. Got to hold this 216.83 today. If you lose that, you probably come down to this 214 level. It's a July high of this year. You can see it bounce right off of it today in pre-market, but like I said, pre-market doesn't mean much. If you lose this 214.39, it's a July high. I think you're going to probably come and test the 20 at 212.78. And then this November high, 211.34. I actually like this for support. Kind of lines up nicely with the 20-day, even though the 20-day is a little elevated from that number right now. And then, however, if you do lose that level, we do have the 50 and the 100 below that. The 100 is sitting at 206.15, and the 50 is sitting at 207.29 level. On the upside, I really wouldn't feel comfortable with NVIDIA being long until you get to 224.76. But with the earnings next week, it could be pretty volatile. I'm sure that the implied volatility is up there pretty significantly. It will be next week if it's not already. So going to Meta. Meta's in the penalty box right now due to this lawsuit that's happening right now while they're on trial. Had this open point of control of 549.53 that got filled. And so below us, the only open point of control we have, I think, is 533.14. However, we have this gap up from April 22nd at 528. So if you pull back, if it does flush, that 500 level will be a really decent level to think about taking a long. And then on the upside here, if you can regain this 556.88 level, it is a lower end regressional trend line that I have from October of last year. Must regain that in order to start pushing back up into the 20-day moving average, sitting at 578.75. If you regain this 556.88, I think you could quickly move into that 578 level. But we have all kinds of headwinds up there if you do get there, right? So watch yourself there. On the downside here, got to hold this weekly low, 540.18. Held it yesterday. Got to hold it today. You can see it's been holding it all week. We're trying to test it in the open on the 19th. Tried to test it again yesterday. If you come back down there, the more you come and test levels, the weaker those levels become. So I'd be careful about that downside. Okay, let's get over. Where are we right now? Let's look at Google. Actually, you know what? I missed something here. I'm sorry. I missed Apple. Let me get to Apple for us. Where's Apple? There's Apple. My apologies. Apple. So we talked about this 301.97 level, still holding that level, hopefully start to steer a step. This created a nice little speed zone from the 19th, and yesterday it got filled right down there. So got to hold the lows here from the 19th, sitting at 309.51. This point of control that was filled, 308.97, could give you some stability as well. Not thinking longs while you're below this 20-day moving average. We could, if you lose 308.97, the 301.97 could come back into play again. And then below that, we have the 100 at 296.45. On the upside, I'm not thinking long until you can regain this 317.40. If you do that, then you can start pushing back into the all-time highs at 323.45. So got to see what happens during the day today and see if there's any kind of news that comes flashing out there. But I'd be careful. Again, it's Friday, so we always want to be careful on Friday. Even though I say it, I always do something stupid on Friday. I should just never trade on Fridays. Google's consolidating. Clear as day. Boom. Below the 20-day moving average, 345.69. I'm not thinking longs unless while we're below this. If you can regain that 345.69, you're going to actually, I like this low here from June 30th, 348.10. If you pop up there, you may get some headwinds up there. Got all kinds of things in your way on Google here in order to get higher. But this is the one thing that I'd be looking at. This is a beautiful level right here. This is a tremendous speed zone. And if we could get that push here, you can really get back up to your 370, 360 area in a hurry. But something's going to have to happen right now. Right now, it's just gradually low. You know, you lost your 50 over here on the beginning of the month. I tried to hold it. You lost it. Then you lost the 20. And what did you lose the 20? You lost the 20-day moving average last week. So we are now below your moving averages, right, people? So that's the main thing. So your 200, though, coming into play at 331.78, that's a pretty good level. So if you flush there, I don't mind that level for some support, as well as this weekly high from November of last year. If you lose that, then I think you could flush all the way down here to this midline regressional trend line at $320. So consolidating, long term is, you need to get above your 50 and your 100-day moving average at 352.80 in order to be comfortable getting your long term again. Right now, I'd be looking for pop and fades on your day trading. That's all there is to it on that. Amazon, see if Amazon's making any kind of move. Tried to and then lost it, right? So same thing on Wednesday, tried to make a pop, and yesterday lost it a little bit. However, we are still holding the lows here from Wednesday. So that's a pretty big important level here. This 262.07, this is a weekly low from July of this year. If you get above that, then I think you could possibly push into the 270 level, 73 level. So that will be your level, probably where you get some headwind, right? So if the market popped up there, you may get a little pushback. However, something to keep in mind, what we talk about, we're above the 20-day moving average. We're above the 100 and the 50. The 20 is sitting at 260.05. As long as we're above that, I do like the longs. I feel more comfortable to regain this 262.07 level. And the 100 is sitting at 251.06. If you did lose the 20 and you lost this July 16th high, sitting at 258.08. If you lose that, then maybe you'd flush down here into the May lows, 255.19 for your next level of support. But today, if you can get a pop and hold above 262.07, I think you can make your way towards that 270.73. Big levels to hold here, though. Lose 260.05, could flush back down here to 251. Microsoft. See what you're doing, Microsoft. So Microsoft, we have this gap up here for 466.64. It's from June. So I'd like to see that gap up filled before you start making your way higher. However, we are above the 20-day moving average, so that's good for the bulls. 468.01 is the 20-day moving average. We have this open point of control still here at 496.88, so that's good for the upside as well. Let me get rid of this price level. I don't even know why I have that there. So I would say today you want to get above yesterday's highs in order to push into the 493.95 level, right? So you're looking at, and this is actually the close from Wednesday. So this will probably be your line right here. Got to get over yesterday's highs. 484.16. If you get above that, you could push into 493.50. The downside here, it's actually a pretty easy downside here. If you lose 479.75, 472.21 is your June high. You probably get a nice little bounce off of that, but I'd like it even more to fill this gap down here, the gap up at 466.24 level. So here's your line here, 479.74. Below that, we flushed to 472.21, could flush to 472.21. Above 484.16, could pop up into 493.50. But you got to watch out, though. These wicks are a little nerve-wracking here, even though it is pre-market. That happened yesterday. And then you have your high over here that you're going to need to get over from Wednesday, right? So this is a high. I'm just going to mark it in red just to move things along for us so we know what that is. So, that'll be a pretty decent level, too. So if the market gets you some good push today and you pop through that, I would be comfortable that you're going to fill this whole speed zone that's sitting right here, right? Boom. One side selling. Got to get those short covering. Tried to, didn't quite get up there on Wednesday, and then yesterday continued to sell off here. So this is going to be your line right here today too, 484.16. We just talked about it. It's going to be your level if you can get above that in order to push into 489.30. Okay, SpaceX. Let's see what SpaceX is doing. I haven't been looking at that. I'm waiting for more volume. There's more float on this. Hanging out at this 135 level. The 135 level is the open low from the first day of trading. So as long as you're above that level, I don't mind the highs. Maybe you can push back into the 139.41 level, and above 139.41, you can push back into this open point of control at 147.78. That being said, with the point of control, we do have a couple point of control, 3 of them actually that are open, 2 of them that are open. We've got an open point of control, 129.22. That's from earlier this month. And then before that, 110.53. So those are levels. Also to keep in mind, we do have open point of controls way up there at 196. So that's down the road. So I think on longer terms, those point of controls get filled. But for right now, right now it's still trying to get its, SpaceX trying to get its feet under it right now. It needs more shares, needs more float. Simple as that. All right, let's get into Tesla. Again, if you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel for me. Hit that thumbs up button. I appreciate it. And also hit that bell for future notifications. Tesla, we like Tesla right now. So this orange shaded out area that you see here, this is a gap down area, 372.90. It's also a speed zone. Okay. So we'll show you what the speed zone is. Let me get this up here. Here's your speed zone right in here. What is a speed zone? When you have a one directional move, one way or the other, eventually that has to be covered. So we started trying to cover it, tried to get up there and got a piece of it on, what day was this? Got a piece of it last week, last Thursday, last Friday, tried to get up there. I thought we were going to get through it and boom, got rejected. Boom, big rejection, but we are creating other speed zones now on the way up here, but I would say big level here, this 351.79. If you can break and hold above that, 362.64 is your first line in the sand. And then above that, hopefully you can push into this 369 to 372 level. 369 is a July low, and so that's a break and retest. On the upside here, 372.90 is your gap down from July 2nd, and this is a day after they had earnings, right? So they had earnings, July 22nd, not July 2nd. So let's get down here to the macro level now. So now we look at this. This is for day trading purposes, right? This is for scalping. So I'm looking at right here, if you can regain this 351.81, which is the high from Wednesday, you could really get a good surge into this 362.65. So if we could get all the stars aligned with the broader markets moving in the right direction, I like the upside for Tesla today. That being said, however, on the downside, if we lose this I would say, I'm going to even say, oh, we got a point of control open, don't we? Let me see this. Let me see if we have a point of control from yesterday. No, we do not. Thank goodness. Now we can continue to move higher. We do have a bunch of point of controls that are up above us here, people. We have one way up here. Let's just go. I thought we did. Pretty sure we did. Find it. Slow it down here. It's our point of control level. Sorry about this. Here we go. So we have a point of control at 408.95. We have 424.39, and the last one, 455.12 on the upside. That being said, we do have an open point of control below us at 318. That was set earlier this month, so that's something to keep in mind. However, we are above the 20-day moving average, so that's positive. We are below the 50, though, so I would suspect if the market pushes up there, you're going to get some probably headwind up there at 366.23. 351 is your line in the sand today. You also can see here is this dotted line that I put on here. This is a 5-minute opening range break yesterday, 347. Called 347.50 was the high of the 5-minute opening range yesterday, right? And so you can see the market flushed on that. On that note, we haven't talked about our QOL opening range scalper here, our indicator that we have here. It worked beautifully yesterday. We're looking at that 5-minute chart from yesterday. And you can see here was your first 5 minutes. Down here on the tab, it tells you your range. Your high was 347.50. Your low is 343.68. It broke your low, right? So here's your low of the range. It broke your low right here, and it initiated a short. And then it told you to exit the trade, right? Because it was going the other direction. However, the very next candle, it told you to enter another short. And when you entered that short right there, you got a beautiful break, right? The 343, and then it hits your price target here at 339. You could have gained $4 on that move, and then it continues to give you some noise the rest of the day. It tells you, okay, this trade is over, and then it tells you to exit. When it comes back up here, break and retest, that you could have entered right here on a short little scalp, and then exited right here when it reclaimed your midline regression level of the 5-minute range. So on the lower right-hand corner over here, it gives you your high, it gives you your low, and then it gives you your mid-range. It gives you the total range of the 5-minute, right? So it was $3.82 of the total range. And then it gives you the range quality, and then it gives you your long grade, your short grade, and the trend bias. Now, right now, the long grade and the short grade trend bias, this is live. So this is telling us what's happening right now. So if we go currently, you could see that we regained the 5-minute from yesterday. So that's why I'm liking the longs for today. However, we got a tiny little gap up here on this 5-minute. So maybe you dip below it just a little bit, maybe to 346.52. I would like that if you got that, and then maybe take your pop there. But so what happens is when it's live trading, it's showing you your long grade. Okay, so it's saying it's a B grade. And then on short grade, it's showing you a C grade, right? So, and your bias is long. It's also telling you the state. There's no active trade right now. It's telling you out of range. So you can apply this to any equity, any crypto, any time frame up to the 30-minute. So here right now, let's get over here. Let's see if we can get the 30-minute on here, the 15. Here's the 15. So here's your 15-minute from yesterday, right? So you can see, and it's also telling you right now on the 15-minute pre-market, here's your bias right now. Your B grade is 72. Got a C grade of 53 for a short grade. It's giving you a long bias. Now, this doesn't mean anything right now, right? Because it's pre-market, and this can change the second the market opens up. However, it's showing you this. Here's the same thing. So on the longer term time charts, we're looking at a 15-minute right now. It's going to be less noise, right? So you pretty much had one trade earlier in the morning, gave you an exit, a second trade, 3. So it gave you 4 signals on the 15 minutes. So something to keep in mind that we have to offer also. So as far as what we're going to do for today, let's look at our charts here. I'm not even going to mess around with 0DTs today. And 0DTs, 0 days till expiration on the options. I'm going to go right into Mondays. So I'm going to buy some time. So you can see here, we got a 355 call expiring on Monday, August 24th. So I'm going to have some time. I have some time on the premium. The premium closed at $1.83, but we are elevated from yesterday's close. We're up about $4 right now. So this is going to open up probably in the $3 range, which will be pretty healthy here. I've got the 345 puts. Also, they closed at $4.65. You see that here. And because we are elevated right now from yesterday's close, I suspect these are probably going to be down in the $3 range as well. So I suspect both these premiums to be pretty spot on with one another, right? So maybe the mid 3s on the calls and mid 3s on these puts. Aside from that, that's all I'm going to do for today. If you have any questions or concerns, other things that you want me to cover, drop a line for me. I'll be glad to cover those. I don't cover any penny stocks, though. Just pretty much stay on the Mag 7. It's, you don't need anything more. So I am going to get going right now. So also go to the website. I forgot to tell you that Sunday website. Put your name, email address in the website, QOLtrading.com. Get your subscription for your weekly newsletter. It's free. All it costs you is your name and your email address, so we know where to send it. That's all. As simple as that. We don't sell anybody's information or any of that nonsense. So on the weekly review for the newsletter, we go over the weekend review. We go over what's expected for the next week for economic data, price levels, all kinds of stuff that pretty good information here. So this is pretty much the copy of the what you would get, on the newsletter. We put out 22 editions so far. We go over all these different price levels. I go over the price levels from ES, Nasdaq, SPY, Qs. Oh, one thing I forgot to cover today. I apologize, people. I forgot to cover Bitcoin and Ethereum. That seems to be the topic right now. So let's talk about Bitcoin before we leave. I apologize, people. My bad. Woo! Look at Bitcoin. All the naysayers right now are starting to get back into the market. It's all because of the press conference I think Trump had the other day, talking about that the White House is buying Bitcoin. So here are your levels right now. You're going to have to hold 74,175 in order to continue pushing higher. If you could regain this 82,833 level, I'd like us to continue to push higher. maybe you can get back into the 97,963 level. So we are above your moving averages right now. So it's making some really good push for you. So that's pretty positive here. Okay, Ethereum, and then we will close it out for today. Ethereum, beautiful. Same thing. Well, big moves here from the other day. We're looking at a 15-minute chart. And so this is the day that Trump said that the White House is going to be buying crypto, Bitcoin primarily. But Ethereum, I think, is you can get a bigger bang for your buck on that one. If you can get up to this 2620 level, if you can regain November's lows, then I think you could push back into the 3405 level, which is January highs of this year. So it's going to be important how you hold these levels here, though, because this can be a speed zone on the way down if you don't hold these levels. But right now, it seems to be holding these levels pretty good here. So I would say for today, 2361, hold that level and continue to get some more upside. All right, people, that's going to be about it. Sorry, I almost forgot the crypto stuff, but I'm going to start adding that into it now that it seems to be a topic for things. But again, if there's anything else that you want me to cover, I'll be glad to cover it. Just drop me a note. And then that's going to be about it. So if I don't see everybody in the trade room today from 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern time, I will see everybody on Monday. Have a great, safe trading day. Enjoy the weekend.